How do you recover from narcissistic abuse? Narcissistic abuse is a phrase that is being coined by Sam Vaknin. He describes it as total abuse, where the aim is to kill you mentally and deprive you of your autonomy, your independence, to take over your mind, to interject the thoughts and of the abuser into you, and you then mistake them as your own. It's to prevent you from having a support network and to deny you of any form of life. He describes it as looking at other abuse, like financial abuse, verbal abuse, as conventional war versus narcissistic abuse as nuclear war, a total destruction. And today I want to talk about how you rebuild your life after narcissistic abuse. Hello, I'm Elizabeth, woundologist and founder of the Divorce Sanctuary. I'm author of Finding Lily and the A to Z of emotional abuse. On this channel, I talk about healing from emotional abuse and divorcing emotionally from the abuser. And I want to help you understand and process what's going on inside you. If you're new to the channel, please don't forget to subscribe. And if you're returning, welcome back and thank you. Anything I talk about in the video, I will put links to in the description box below. How do you recover from narcissistic abuse? I want to remind you this is something you're not supposed to recover from. The point of narcissistic abuse from the standpoint of the narcissist, the emotional abuser, and I always use emotional abuser because we can't diagnose on our own. You can look and say they are very high up on that spectrum. You know in your body what you've experienced. Nobody can take that away from you. That isn't the aim of changing the abuser's name. The reason I do it more so is if you were divorcing them or going to court and you're claiming that they're a narcissist, you might not be taken as seriously. The focus should be on your experience and what you feel and what happened to you. You were never meant to get over this. And you might be going over and over in your head what you could have done differently. You might have played through if only and maybe. It might be specific scenarios, events that happened. If you hadn't said something, if you hadn't done something, if you had, perhaps you should have done this. And you're searching for ways that you wouldn't be in this position because this pain is unreal. And it was meant to be that way. Right from the very beginning, when the love bombing started, that was the aim. Total destruction of your life. And so part of the hoovering, when they know you're in pain, is confirmation that they have done a really good job. You're experiencing or possibly experiencing emotions of abandonment, shame, and betrayal. And your emotions will be swinging backwards and forwards, wondering why you didn't leave earlier, experience that shame, to the next moment wondering what they're up to, what they're doing, and how they are surviving without you. During that idealization stage, that love bombing stage, they told you you were the only person that ever understood them. So how can they break away now and move on? And what is so wrong with you? Remember, this abuse, the aim was to kill you mentally and deprive you of who you are, to steal your personality. Not only steal it, destroy your personality, to take over your independence, to take power and control over your life in every aspect, including your mind. You mistake their thoughts as your own. You heard things like, we have so much in common, or you might have heard, we are so alike, you and I. Narcissistic abuse is the total destruction, and this includes isolation. This is why you feel lonely and you feel powerless. You have self-doubt, you're feeling shame. These are emotions you feel. You feel the negative emotions. You're confused. Your self-esteem was destroyed. You've been left with these emotions and these feelings of anxiety and fear. You're possibly avoiding life and people. Your life is now consumed with a need to know what they're doing, how they're surviving, how they're coping without you, because you were the only person that ever understood them. And it doesn't just affect romantic relationships. This abuse can be in your family, it can be in friendships, it can be in the workplace. during that idealization stage, a persona was created. Well, two personas were created. I spoke about this in last week's video. They created one for you and they created one for themselves. You fell in love with something that wasn't true. And then that persona looked to destroy you. This is why it's so important to keep reminding yourself of what happened in that relationship. Writing out your story and understanding this was abuse, because the aim of this was total destruction. And what they haven't destroyed when they've walked away, you are going to destroy with your thoughts and your emotions and your actions. What was left over that was still functioning, the seeds that they've planted, the earworms inserted, you are going to destroy yourself and you will self-destruct. Writing out your story is so important, because you can look back in those moments where you forget the abuse, where you really crave to be in that relationship again. Grounding and breathing, staying in your body is the safest place. Your mind was infiltrated. It's like having a virus set off. As I said, you mistake their thoughts as your own. They took over your mind. Their aim was to destroy you. They prevented you from having support networks. They created stories around people. They told you that you couldn't trust them. Your ability to function was destroyed. A virus infiltrated that part of your life. You now come out of this relationship. You don't know how to function. You lost your empathy. Your mind was infiltrated. And your body. You can't feel apart from the pain that you've experienced, and it is extreme. This wounding is like having physical wounds. They destroyed every single part of your life, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, financially. This isn't about rebuilding your life. There was no foundation. The relationship was built without foundations. That's why it moved so quickly. This is about stripping back, which is actually what they've done for you. They've stripped you back. They've removed everything that you've learned. All those developmental stages that you went through, they've been stripped back. And you've been left with a toddler running your life, maybe younger. This is about rebuilding. This is about building on firm and solid foundations. But all is not lost. You can just look at something like Chernobyl, where left alone, nature has reclaimed. There are animals, there are horses wandering around, the trees are growing. Nature has come in and taken over where all the concrete buildings were put, where the roads were laid. And you too can create that. Remember, the aim of narcissistic abuse is to destroy you totally. By going no contact and claiming back the space around you, you can start to rebuild, reconstruct, lay down the foundations, ground and breathe, and have honest conversations. Honest conversations are going to give you the key to the answers that have been there all along. They will unlock passages and doorways that hold wounds that you weren't aware of. And wound talking is so important. Being able to communicate with these wounds. But some of them will be old. Some of them weren't able to tell you what was going on, but they can talk to you now. Some might have happened in childhood. They couldn't communicate with you at the time. They can now. And the beauty of this destruction, complete annihilation of your life, and there is beauty in this, you're turning grit into gold. This is pure alchemy. The beauty of this is that you get to reparent, you get to rebuild, you get to be the person that you needed. You can have these honest conversations and you can advise yourself. You become your own therapist, you become your own best friend. When you learn to talk to your wounds and have these honest conversations with them, you're getting another perspective. You're getting a deep insight into what's going on. And if you're looking to get back at the abuser, at the narcissist or the emotional abuser, the person who set out to destroy your life, this is the way you do it. You transform your life and you step into the life that you were born to live. If you'd like to find out more ways of working with me, everything's in the description box. If you want to know more about wound talking, please reach out to me and we can book a session. I hope this has been useful. If there's anybody that you know that needs to hear this message, please forward it on to them. And I'm sending you loads and loads of love.